Hello and welcome to this week's angling vlog. This week you join me on a brand new venue for me. It's Hampton Springs and we're on Oasis pool. It's been a lovely drive down here, and with the rivers opening in a few weeks, it's the journey that I would make to the River Severn for barbel, about halfway. So going down the A49 this morning, yeah, got the excitement going that the rivers will soon be open. The venue itself is available for lymm anglers members to fish for free, and also people who come to Hampton Springs can buy day tickets on the pool as well. It really is an amazing complex. As you know on the channel, I don't really fish commercials, but this is a complex in itself. There's lakes all over the place. Today, as I say, we're on Oasis pool, and yeah, got a couple of things that I want to try and fish. So we'll take a look at the setup, the swim, and how we're going to approach it. So looking at the setup, I've brought along the brand new 11-foot phase 1 rod from Korum. On that, I'm hoping to fish a Waggler in open water, as you can see, straight through 4-pound line to a size 12 hook. On the other rod, I've got a 10-foot phase 1 feeder rod, and I'm going to be fishing the method feeder on that. Third thing that I have set up is a pole, only 2 sections, my top kit and one. That is just for fishing down the margin, and if the fish do turn up, I haven't got to mess around with the other rod to change the depth. I can just go straight in and I'm fishing down the margin. That's the setup. Let's take a look at the swim and how we're going to start. So that's the pool that we're going to fish, and as you can see, it's a stone's throw from the car park, like all the pegs are. And the first thing I did was dip my net. You know, you've got to do that when you arrive, especially if you're like me, you go around a couple of venues. Now, what I've tried to do is, it's a bit windy, so I've set up on the back of the island to do my best to reduce noise on the camera. Plumbing up with the margin on the pole, that is the better margin by far. It seems to be flat to about there, more of an even depth than it does drop off. You're looking about 4 foot in the middle, and there it's about 1 foot max. Looking down the other margin, you can see how inviting does that look, all the scum. This margin here, not as good. It seems to be a bit rocky and drop off really quick, but that looks perfect, you know, to put a feeder, doesn't it, down there later on. The Waggler, I'm going to fish in line with the aerator, and round about here, just in open water, and just see what comes along. And I say, I imagine we'll catch roach and anything that swims, but hopefully we can get Mr. Carp on the Waggler. So before we start looking at them other lines, I'm just going to have a cheeky go on the pole, because when I was setting up, I did put a little bit of bait in, and I just saw a couple of swirls down there, so just dropped a little bit of bait in. I'm just going to have a quick look. You can see down there swirls already, so just going to see if we can pick up an early carp. There we go. My mate Craig, who's fishing today with us, had just turned up, and yeah, you could see the swirls, and he's literally stood where they are. But I say, I dropped a tiny bit of bait down there when I was setting up, and I turned round and I could see the tails. So before we start on the Waggler and the method feeder and stuff like that, you got to make the most of these early conditions, because you have given it a warm day today. This is how it's going to be. We're going to have a very good day on the bank. Well, as first casts of the day go, good decision to go down that margin, wasn't it? And say, I dropped a bit of pellet in while I was setting up, turned around and did the intro, looked down the margin, and this tail was sticking out the water. I'm going to have another cheeky little look. You've got to, haven't you? So while we're having a bit of fun on that margin line, I know exactly when I'm going to fish with the Waggler. I'm going to line up with that aerator, not going too far, but round about there, over an area, but just to prepare it for when we go on it. I'm going to fire a bit of bait over the area, and that didn't take too long at all, just dropping in those little bits of corn, and definitely, as you can see, not as big as the last one we had, but I'm going to say it really early on, the fact that this is available on my club card, I pay £8 to go a commercial. Flushing Meadows, you see me fish it on the blog every now and again. This is not any different, and the fact that you can just come here on the club card, yeah. Second one of the day, seconds after going back in. Might not be as big as the first, but great fun. So I did bring the pole for later on down the margin, just in case I wanted to fish down there. So if I was fishing the Waggler, I didn't have to mess about with changing the depth. What we'll do is we'll call this the last one down the margin, because I have a feeling that if it stays overcast, you know, we can always have some fun down there during the day. What I really wanted to do today was fish the Waggler and the feeder, the method feeder, for really anything that swims. And he's only a small little guy, but look at the lovely colours in its tail. As you know on the channel, it's not all about the size of fish for me. Sometimes it's just little things like that to put a smile on your face. So looking at the side tray, got plenty of pellets, micro pellets. Say you're fishing a commercial type fishery, so that's probably more natural to them than anything else on this tray. Here I've got some Hinders hemp, I've got a few grains of corn that have fell in it. So I've got some sweet corn, bigger bait, obviously if you want to target the bigger fish. A lot of these commercials do have lots of silvers in them, and we've got around about 2 pints of maggot. So I've not put any more bait down there because it's just going to be too tempting to keep going down. You know, you're going to see the tails come up and everything, and yeah, had plenty of fun catching that nice carp at the start and then other carp. But if we keep putting bait down there, it's just going to be too tempting. I'm going to start now and have a go on the Waggler, just fishing in line with the aerator, put that little bit of bait in before. So as you've seen on that last piece there, I've been getting plenty of bites. Definitely found a nest of these small tench that are just hanging off that aerator. It must be about the 10th small tench I've had. Nothing bigger than 6 ounces, but just great to see. They always put a smile on my face. That's what fishing's all about at the end of the day. An absolute nightmare to hold, but yeah, absolutely mint. And this will definitely be a place I'll be coming back to. Fish like that are literally a bite of chuck on maggot. It'd be a beautiful little safe place to bring the kids, most definitely. Can you imagine them catching fish like that? And then all of a sudden Mr. Carp moves in. We would definitely be back here with Abby and Josh. Just the first, slightly better one coming on the Waggler. Really feeding 5 or 6 maggots continuously into the swim, and so I'm seeing the odd swirl now, but still fishing the full depth of the swim, which you can see isn't the deepest anyway. For a while now I've been thinking, while I've been off work, about just going out with the Waggler, some maggots, hemp, just fishing for anything that swims. It's something that you don't hear people talk about in fishing a lot, but great fun. It takes me right back to the canal. And yeah, as an adult, loving it. We all know you could go down there and probably catch Mr. Carp if we wanted, but yeah, having the time in my life just catching anything that swims on the Waggler. Moving to half depth, still feeding the maggots, and Mr. Skin Bob is all over them. And after probably 40 minutes to an hour of catching tench, skimmers, anything that swims really, rudd, struck, and yeah, Mr. Carp on the end. A lovely bend in the rod, shallowed right up because I started seeing them swirls in the water. And yeah, really am having some great fun today. And we've only been fishing maybe 2 hours. Yeah. There we go. Lovely little common carp. Coming a foot deep on the Waggler. Let's get him straight back. Get straight back out there. The very next cast. Again coming shallow. Lovely little carp. So the beauty of these type of places is you can just have fun with it. Let's say we haven't touched the method feeder rod yet. You're getting plenty of bites out there. Just going to put a little bit of pellet, some hemp in there and a few grains of corn. Just have another look down this margin down here. It is exciting stuff when you just see them tail patterns appear behind your float and then it just buries with an unmissable bite. And say them fish down there, I think are just there whenever you want to just try for them. And there we go, another little carp just coming down the edge. So sorry the vlog's a bit all over the place, but there's so many different ways to catch them, isn't there? And where we've been feeding them maggots, seen a few bubbles come up, so went straight over the top with the method feeder. We went round straight away. And the thing that I love about the method feeder, doesn't matter the size of the fish, that tip absolutely wraps around. And there are a lot of these size fish in the pool, but we've seen this morning there's most definitely bigger. Having great fun today, just alternating between all different methods, you know, some on the float, some on the pole down the margin like this one. Just having a laugh with Craig. I was dropped in a little bit of bait in the toss pot and dropped the rig over the top and I didn't even see the float go under. All I saw was the elastic absolutely bolt out the swim. And I said, I don't know how big it is, but it disturbed quite a few carp at the same time. But yeah, the first thing I knew was elastic was just shooting out the swim. He's under a bit more control now, but having great fun, I've got to say. And I think after we've caught this one, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a pole rig on that float rod and then just fish rod tip down the edge, because I think that'll be great fun. So I've said it on the vlog a couple of times over the years, fishing is all about having fun, and if you're not smiling when you're bankside, then there's something wrong. It shouldn't be stressful. Yeah, drop that bait in and the elastic, like I say, just shot out the tip, and yeah, as you're smiling on the bank, doesn't it? And that's what fishing is all about. So the rig, really simple. Got a 4x10 Dinsmore float. Got a bulk shot of sticks, 2 droppers, down to a hook and a piece of corn. It's as simple as it comes. Blue skies, bending the rod, happy angler. Caught literally at the rod tip on a simple rig. Simple tactics, but loads of fun. Let's get back out there, see if we can get another. So proved to be a good move. As you've seen there, the float just bedded and that bow wave out the swim. And yeah, moving over to the float in the margin. Just different, isn't it, than playing them on the pole. And they still rocket out the swim. But for me, really, I'm a rod and line man myself at heart. You can't beat a bend in the rod. It's a beautiful day to be bankside. So the sun's most definitely out, jumpers off, t-shirts on, and that is as buttery as the sun. Great fun under the rod tip. So I'm going to enjoy what's left of the session. If we get any big uns, I'll put it on, and I'll play a bit of music now with a few of the captures on the rest of the session. So the side tray is empty. I promised the missus I'd be home in about 20 minutes, and I live 40 minutes away, and yeah, I'm in trouble. But when you see them down the edge and you just want to catch one more, don't you? And I do think it feels like a decent one. Will it be worth the rollicking? Hopefully so. So we started the vlog with a nice fish, and when I went down the margin, we've had plenty of action, great fun on the rod, but this was the type of carp I really wanted to make contact with, you know, something that, like the one at the start, it looks like, you know, getting up there for double figures. You can see he's a decent fish, putting a proper bend in the rod. So he's got to slowly take her time. It's his first gulp of air. So yeah, looks like it might be worth the telling off if we can get him in. So we started this vlog with a lovely common down the edge on the pole, and we're ending it with an even better one on the float rod, down the margin, under the rod tip. Definitely in trouble, but definitely happy. I want to thank you all very much for watching. Hit that subscribe button and like the video if you've enjoyed it. Something very different than what we normally do. I want to wish you all tight lines in your own fishing, and I'll catch you all next week. Tight lines.